Do you believe that Hamas should lay down their weapons and leave the leadership in Gaza?
I believe that any future here in New York City is one that we have to make sure that's affordable for all. And as it pertains to Israel and Palestine, that we have to ensure that there's peace. And that is the future that we have to fight for.
I'm sorry. What question were you pretending to answer? That is the jihadi, Mamdani the commie, New York City's future mayor, and Hamas is loving it. He's got the Hamas vote. No doubt about it. Got to pause for a little Jimmy. Everybody sing along now. There must be some kind of way out of here, said the Joker to the thief. There's too much confusion. I can't get no relief. He knew, Jimmy knew, he knew at the ripe young age of, he's like 24 years old when he's doing this. You know, but never mind that. Let's get back to the lunacy that is the Democrat Party, and welcome back on this beautiful Friday in the United States of America. We remain at 888-630-9625. And there was a political debate in New York City last night where Mamdani the commie, he's also a jihadi, was debating his theoretical opponents, including the now former Democrat governor who's responsible for so many deaths during the Wuhan Red Death that came out of communist China. And remember, they lied to us about all that? CNN lied and the Democrats lied, but I repeat myself. Isn't that amazing? But they had Zorhan, don't mess with the Zorhan Mamdani, the jihadi commie. He was debating last night on stage with Andrew Cuomo, the disgraced former governor of the state of New York, and Curtis Sliwa. And personally, I've always liked Curtis Sliwa, and I didn't know him forever and ever. Then I finally did a couple of TV shows with him years ago now in New York City. And I thought he was just great, hanging out on the side and being a normal person, not on TV, you know, the not on TV part. And he was great on TV, too, but he was great off to the side, and I like Curtis Sliwa. He is a crime fighter. And the Democrat Party, they are crime. See, they're not fighting crime. They're promoting crime. They're pushing crime. They are crime. And if you're a crime fighter, then the Democrats are a you fighter. They'll fight against you in favor of crime. But the polls looking pretty awful. Mamdani the commie with 52% of the vote, according to the latest poll there, New York City likely voters. 52% for Mamdani the commie, only 28% for the Democrat New York political family, Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo, and only 14% for the crime fighter, guardian angels creator, Curtis Sliwa, and all-around fun guy. He's on the side of America and of New Yorkers and all of that. Now, let me get some audio from this debate because the Democrats, there's something terribly wrong with them. But you just heard Mamdani the commie being asked, this was a couple of days ago. We used the audio yesterday. I guess she interviewed Martha McCallum on Fox News, interviewed Zorhan, the Mamdani the commie. On Wednesday, we played some of the audio yesterday. Said, well, will you condemn Hamas and demand that Hamas disarm? And he said, well, I want to make things affordable in New York City. I'm sorry, what? Are you on another planet? You have very severe brain damage? Are you deaf? You can't hear nothing? What is going on with that? And so he gave this absolutely ridiculous non-answer, and he did not say that he wants to see Hamas disarm, which is his way of saying he wants Hamas to wipe the Jews off the face of the earth, because Mamdani the commie is a genocidal Jew hater. He's a genocidal jihadi, right? And last night at the debate in New York, where the three candidates were on stage, right, Curtis Sliwa and Andrew Cuomo and Zorhan, the Mamdani commie, they were on stage, and the moderator, David Ushery, was the person doing the moderating, NBC New York. He's with NBC New York, the local NBC station in New York City. And I think he was doing just fine. I didn't see the whole thing, but I think he was doing just fine. And David Ushery, the moderator, said he goes to Zorhan and says, hey, you were asked if maybe Hamas should disarm, and you said, hell no, I want to have cheap cigarettes in New York.
Yesterday on Fox News, you were asked if Hamas should lay down its weapons, key to the peace plan and ceasefire. And some say they found your answer confusing. You said, quote, I don't really have opinions about the future of Hamas
No
in
opinions.
Israel. So for the voters tuning in tonight, Mr. Mamdani, what do you believe about Hamas and how lasting peace will be achieved?
Of course, I believe that they should lay down their arms.
Listen,
I'm proud
listen
to
to
be one of the first elected officials in the state who called for a ceasefire. And calling for a ceasefire
Proud.
means ceasing fire. That means all parties have to cease fire
What?
and put down their
Ceasing?
weapons. And the reason that we call for that is not only for the end of the genocide, but also an unimpeded access of humanitarian aid.
There are so many things wrong with that. Just where to begin. I could spend 45 minutes on that non-answer right there. First of all, he says a ceasefire is about seizing fire. So he's conflating and confusing two words, cease and seize. It's not a ceasefire, it's a ceasefire. That means the terrorists stop torturing, raping, and murdering everybody, and that Israel stops defending itself against the terrorists, right?
And calling for a ceasefire means seizing fire.
No, it doesn't. That's not what it means. No. See, this I like to say I've been saying for many years. They use the words, but they don't know what they mean. And here's yet another example, because ceasefire means seizing fire. No, not really. And then he said that you got to stop the genocide. You got to stop the genocide. And by that, he means those terrible Jews who he wants to kill, he wants to exterminate by genocide. Those terrible Jews are killing terrorists with Hamas, which he calls genocide, and it does not comport with the definition of the word genocide. But the Democrats like doing that.
Not only for the end of the genocide, but also an unimpeded access of humanitarian aid.
Yeah, because there's been no humanitarian. The humanitarian has been flowing in. The terrible, awful Israelis have been providing the overwhelming majority of it. And your terrorists have been stealing it and selling it on the market. And, and nobody cares about human life there. Don't be ridiculous, including you, by the way. But there it is. Because ceasefire means seizing fire. So he might have had like a brain seize there, might have had a stroke or something. And because stop the genocide. And then what he's saying is he wants Israel to stop because they're a superior military force, obviously, and a superior cultural force and a superior force in every imaginable way. And they need to stop because the genocide. Now, again, the only genocidal actors here, the only genocidal party here is Hamas, the radical Islamic jihadis, who are literally genocidal, bloodlusty murderers, terrorists, kidnappers. But never mind that. All right, now let's go on to Andrew Cuomo, who forced all those people into old folks' homes during the Wuhan Red Death and made them die. And he groped more women than, I'm guessing Jerome doesn't have any problem with Andrew Cuomo, who actually sexually assaulted all these women. And according to all the women, remember Pound Me Too, when Democrats pretended to believe women for a minute? That was just about setting up Republicans, and then it didn't work because really there aren't a lot of Joe Bidens in the Republican Party. Well, Donald Trump may have said something, and some lady accused him of something in the Bergdorf-Goodman dressing area sometime in the 1990s. She can't tell you what year, and nobody remembers it happening, but never mind that. The Democrats were all in with that one, too, because they're like commies. All right, so here's Andrew Cuomo. He took a moment off from groping women to answer a question at last night's debate.
If you notice, the Assemblyman still won't say he believes that Israel has the right to exist as a Jewish state. He is a divisive personality all across the board. NYPD are racist. Barack Obama is evil, liar, and he gave the finger to the Christopher Columbus statue.
See, and he gave he's Cuomo. He's some kind of an Italian-American. And he said that and it's true, this creep posted a photograph of himself flipping off the statue of the monument to Christopher Columbus, who discovered America. An Italian sailing under the Spanish crown discovered America. The Americas discovered that the world was not flat, and we could start sailing around it because it's a ball floating in the sky. We were still sorting that out back then. That's how long ago it was. Democrats are still a little confused by this stuff. But But there it is. And so he fled. And this is what he was. He became angry. You could see his face really get angry when he mentioned that Zorhan Mamdani flipped off the Christopher. It's in Columbus Circle, right where the CNN headquarters is, on the southwest corner of Central Park, Columbus Circle. And there's Mamdani. He wants to be mayor. There he is flipping off Christopher Columbus, right, because that's what these guys do.
And he gave the finger to the Christopher Columbus statue.
See, he doesn't like that at all. But he won't say that Israel has a right to exist as a Jewish state. He says that all cops are racist and LGBTQ unfriendly or something like that. And never mind, the NYPD has like a NYPD LGBTQ division. You know, they have parades and parties and things. But never mind that. And by the way, it's a very culturally diverse. They like that turn of phrase, culturally diverse police department as well. But, but he did say, Cuomo pointed out that he says that Israel does not have a right to exist as a Jewish state. He's anti-police. He gave the finger to Christopher Columbus. And what did he say? He said Obama was evil. Was that? As an evil liar. Mamdani, now, listen to this. Even when he's accusing other people of lying, he's lying himself.
There have been a number of absolutely unfounded lies that have been said by Andrew Cuomo. I would just like a moment to address them directly. I've said time and again that I recognize Israel's right to exist. I've said that I will not recognize any states. I said that I will not.
As a Jewish state.
If I would be allowed to finish, that I would not recognize any state's right to exist with a system of hierarchy on the basis of race or religion. I have made that very clear. And part of that is because I'm an American who believes in the importance of equal rights being enshrined in every single country, whether we're speaking about Israel or whether we're speaking about Saudi Arabia. You can stand here and you can lie all you want, but New Yorkers know that.
We have the question. We don't support Israel.
Now, answer the question. He never answered the question. What he did say, that he would never support a system of hierarchy. Every government is a system of hierarchy. Based on race or religion, he believes that Israel is based on race, that is Jewish, and religion, that is Jewish. When in reality, of course, in Israel, they have 3 million Arabs living there. They have Muslims living among them. They have Christians living among them. They have atheists living among them. They don't throw LGBTQ people off of rooftops and kill them. They don't hang them from cranes and chant Allahu Akbar. Not at all. But here's what the creep actually said.
I would not recognize any state's right to exist with a system of hierarchy on the basis of race or religion. I have made that very clear.
See, now that is him saying, no, Israel does not have a right to exist because he says that it is a state that has a system of hierarchy based on race or religion. And that's where the snake, the weasel, and then the news media people, they just let it go by because it's no big deal. So he's saying that a state, an ally, representing civilization has no right to exist, none whatsoever. Aren't they amazing? Mamdani. And there it is. Then the moderator in New York, David Ushery, got things going again.
Candidates, President Trump has expressed intense interest in this election and in all of you personally. Mr. Mamdani, the president called you, quote, my little communist. Mr. Sliwa, he said you're, quote, not exactly prime time. And Mr. Cuomo, he has been critical of you, but said you have always gotten along. You've all promised to resist him in some way. What would you say in your first official call with the president to set the tone for your relationship moving forward?
Yeah, because Trump doesn't like you. So let's attack Trump. Let's take a little time out to attack Trump. And the commie Mamdani, who's a jihadi, who's a genocidal Jew hater, in New York City, which has the largest population of Jewish people gathered in any single place outside of Israel, he's running for, and the Democrat Jews are going to vote for him, and he's going to come around in trucks and round them up. I think they should be talking about that. I've got the responses coming up from the debate. You know, from everyday dinners and effortless entertaining to unforgettable gifts, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience. And right now, during their early Black Friday sale, you and everybody you know can get 50% off the entire Omaha Steaks website and get another 20% off of selected favorites at omahasteaks.com. Listen, my best girl and I have talked about it before. We love our Omaha steaks. We love our filet mignons. We sear them up in my grandfather's iron skillet. Get a nice char around the edge. Delicious. Now's the time to save big at Omaha Steaks. Omaha Steaks offers unrivaled quality and variety, and every bite is backed by their 100% guarantee. They also carry mouthwatering burgers and chicken and pork and seafood, and they have great desserts, too. Right now, you save big with Omaha Steaks. Just visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off the entire website, site-wide, and get an extra 20% off of selected favorites during their early Black Friday sale. And because we hang out together, you get another $35 off when you use the promo code PLANT at checkout, PLANTE. Terms apply. See the site for details. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com. The promo code is PLANT at checkout. Thank you very much. It is. Yeah, I've got the responsives come back. And also John Bolton turning himself in today. He's in big trouble. We'll talk about that coming up as well.
Calling for a ceasefire means seizing fire. I would not recognize any state's right to exist with a system of hierarchy on the basis of race or religion. I have made that very clear.
Isn't that amazing? And I saw that Dave in Silver Spring called in, zeroed in on the correct thing, right on point. So let's go to Dave calling from Silver Spring, Maryland. David, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So I guess Mamdani does not support the existence of Palestine, the Gaza Strip, Saudi Arabia, Iran. I mean, we could go on and on and on, but they're all religious hierarchical societies or states. And I would like to remind morons Mamdani that the Knesset at some point, and it may still be so, but I believe the Knesset had Muslims sitting on the Knesset, which is the Congress for Israel. So I don't know what he's talking about. He's just trying to cover up that he hates Israel, he wants Israel destroyed, he hates Jews. And you know what? As a former New Yorker, and I'm so ashamed of the way those people are voting, he'll probably get these idiots to believe him, including Jewish New Yorkers, which I don't understand at all how they could vote for a person like him.
Well, low IQ theater, failed public education, and let me say that the Knesset, the Israeli Congress, as you said, they've got Arab members, they've got Muslim members. It's the only government in the region that allows people from who are Jews, Muslims, Christians, atheists to serve in government. It is the government that he dreams of. And you're absolutely right, of course, that when it comes to a hierarchical government based on race or religion, look no further than Gaza.
I would not recognize any state's right to exist with a system of hierarchy on the basis of race or religion. I have made that very clear.
He's made that very clear. He wouldn't support. That means he wouldn't support Israel, which he falsely describes as a country with a hierarchy based on race or religion. I just went and I looked up because our brilliant caller, Dave, just a couple of minutes ago, pointed out the truth that he is supporting Hamas, which they were gifted elections by the Israelis, and they elected a terror group that's a genocidal death cult, and he supports them, Mamdani the commie does. But I looked it up, and the Knesset, the legislation in Israel, and they've got a list here of all of the many former Muslims and Arabs that served in the Knesset, and it goes on for far too long to list here. It's only a 3-hour radio show. But if you're just looking for the Arabs and Muslims serving in the Knesset right now, there are no Jews serving in Hamas's leadership, by the way, and they were elected to lead Gaza, twice the size of Washington, D.C., with 25 miles of beachfront property. But they're such losers, they can't even make that work. But Mansour Abbas, is a Sunni Muslim, and he is serving in the Knesset right now. They've got Afif Abed. He's a Druze. He's serving in the Knesset right now. Hamad Amar, another Druze serving in the Knesset now. You got a long list here. You got Yassa Hajarolat. You've got Walid Al-Washi, and he's serving in the United Arab List. And they've got another Akram Hassan. He's Druze. They've got Imam Khatib Yassin, a woman wearing the Muslim headdress. She's a Sunni Muslim serving in the Knesset there. So this is the country that he dreams of, but he's too stupid to know that it exists, and it's Israel. But, of course, Saudi Arabia doesn't have any diversity in their hierarchy. It's based entirely on their ethnicity, their race, as Arabs, and their religion as Muslims. Let's go to Iran, as our brilliant caller Dave was talking about, based entirely on being Muslim and being Persian, and otherwise you're not helping with the government. There are no senior leadership posts for you. The list goes on and on. Ayman Odeh, he's non-religious now. He gave up Islam, but he was raised a Sunni Muslim, and he's Hadash Party. Isn't that great? Walid Taha, also United Arab List. He's serving right now in the Knesset. Ahmad Tibi, he is a Sunni Muslim who is serving in the Knesset. You got Samir bin Saeed, and he's serving there. And you've got Aida Thomas Suleiman, another woman, Muslim Arab woman serving in the Knesset. So Israel has that diverse government that he pretends he dreams of, while he promotes Iran and Hamas and the Gaza, where there is absolutely no diversity. It's based entirely on race and religion. But he is nothing if not a clown. Well, he's a terrorist and a danger. Oh yeah, speaking of which, I've got a funny thing here, because I know we've got a little more audio, don't we, from last night, because I didn't even get to the responses there to all that stuff. So let's where did we leave off, Michael? I think we left off after number 12. That's our soundbite number 12. And then Zorhan Mamdani, the commie. It's all about resisting Donald Trump.
I would make it clear to the president that I am willing to not only speak to him, but to work with him if it means delivering on lowering the cost of living for New Yorkers. And what I tell the president is if he ever wants to come for New Yorkers in the way that he has been, he's going to have to get through me as the next mayor of the city.
Going to have to get through me. More threats of violence from the terrorists, from the jihadi. Isn't he amazing? Man, oh man. Now, I need to go to Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, who's just wonderful. And she really is. She's great. And she's a New York woman. And Elise Stefanik was asked by the New York Times to provide the New York Times with a response to the Democrat in New York, Mamdani, and his campaign, because he says all this crazy stuff. And Elise Stefanik called him a jihadi. And that's because, he loves jihad, which is the Islamic religious war against Americans, Christians, Jews, civilization. They will butcher everyone, spread by the sword and all that stuff. But Elise Stefanik, she had a great one here. She posted on X. I like to call it Twitter. Isn't that amazing? She's great. American politician. She's a member of the House of Representatives, 21st Congressional District, New York. And she tweeted out, because she called the jihadi here a jihadi, right? The commie, Mamdani the commie, called him a jihadi. So the New York Times contacted her office and said, well, we want to get a response because he says he's not a jihadi. And they represent the jihad at the New York Times. Even their Jews love the jihad at the New York Times. So Elise Stefanik posted, hey, Emma GF from the New York Times. This is how she responded, because she got an email from Emma GF at the New York Times. So Elise Stefanik, Congresswoman, wrote, hi, Emma GF from the New York Times. Regarding your question that popped into our inbox. So they just randomly email something to their inbox. Don't call them on the phone and talk to the press person. Just put it in there. Then they can write in their story, we asked for a response but didn't get one. So they just send a random email. They get 10,000 a day, right? But regarding your question that popped into our inbox, quote, I'm a reporter for the Times. I love that part, for the Times. Do you mean the Washington Times? Because that's a newspaper that we call the Times in Washington, D.C. Maybe the London Times, the Times of London, because that's a newspaper called the Times. But she writes to the Congresswoman, randomly sending an email to an inbox that nobody reads. I'm a reporter for the Times, and I'm writing about Stefanik's comments in response to Mamdani's Fox interview. Mamdani's campaign said that her comments, calling him a jihadist, were Islamophobic. Phobia is an irrational fear. When one religion is waging a holy war against civilization, it's not irrational to recognize all of the terrorist attacks. Kind of like looking at the Democrat Party, too, which have had more terrorist attacks in the last couple of years than the Islamists have in the United States. But Mamdani's campaign said that her comments, calling him a jihadist, were Islamophobic. Please let me know if you want to respond. And then Elise Stefanik, after reproducing the email that she got from the New York Times, said, why, yes, Emma, I do want to respond. Please print in full. And she puts in full in all capital letters, knowing that they will do no such thing, right? She writes, I call Zorhan Mamdani a jihadist because he is. Zorhan Mamdani is a raging anti-Semite. Mamdani is the definition of a jihadist, as he supports Hamas terrorists, which he did as recently as yesterday when he refused to call Hamas terrorists put down their arms. He refused to call the Hamas terrorists to put down their arms. The same Hamas terrorist group that slaughtered civilians, including New Yorkers, on October 7th, 2023. He is Kathy Hochul's endorsed jihadist communist who she has empowered to destroy New York City. Kathy Hochul, the Democrat governor of the state of New York, she's unintelligent, unserious, and corrupt, which is fine because she's a Democrat. He is Kathy Hochul's endorsed jihadist communist who she has empowered to destroy New York City. She continued, it's why the New York State Democratic Party chair refuses to support him. It's why multiple Democrat members of Congress refuse to support him. It's why Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries have still not endorsed him, because Zorhan is a jihadist who will destroy New York. Thank you, with an exclamation mark. Thank you. She put thank you with an exclamation mark. Didn't say thank you for your attention to this matter like President Trump, but that could be copyrighted material now. So that's great. And good for Elise Stefanik. Wonderful, wonderful response to the New York Times. And the New York Times will not publish her response because they're not a journalistic organization. They're a Democrat Party front group. I see you're itching to pull the trigger over there. Okay. All right, let's go to, it's not a gun, it's a keyboard. Don't worry about that. It's not an AK-47 or anything. Andrew Cuomo, the former Democrat governor, he was there at the debate last night, and they're saying, well, I think the question was, don't you want to attack Trump? Trump says that he got along with Cuomo, and Cuomo responded thusly.
If you come after New York, you know what I'm going to do. You know it's going to be ugly. And, my chances are almost 50-50, even though you're the president. I'd like to work with you. I think we can do good things together. But, number one, I will fight you every step of the way if you try to hurt New York.
God, they're a disagreeable, disgruntled bunch of maladjusted misanthropes, aren't they? They really are. So what are you, aggressive moron? You've come after New York? You mean illegal alien gang members raping women all over the place? Is that what you're talking about coming after? Of course, this is, gropey McGropeface over here. So we got that going. Curtis Sliwa of the Guardian Angels, he was there on, aren't you supposed to resist Trump because he might want to enforce the law, and we prefer crime.
I've had a love-hate relationship with Donald Trump that goes back over 30 years. But I know one thing. We have Andrew Cuomo. We have Zorhan Mamdani. They want to take on Donald Trump. Look, you can be tough, but you can't be tough if it's going to cost people desperately needed federal funds. If you try to get tough with Trump, the only people who are going to suffer from that are the people of New York City.
Okay. Well, that's a straight-up fact. Curtis Lee was a no-nonsense guy.
Zorhan, your fantasies are never going to come about in terms of funding everything you want that's going to be free. It's a fantasy. Let's deal with the reality.
fantasy. It's going to be free buses, free food, free grocery stores. They're going to run he's a communist. He's a Soviet communist and a jihadi. There will be, yard arms with dead bodies hanging from them in New York City parks before he's done. Andrew Cuomo.
The Assemblyman's whole plan is based on a myth. He's going to raise taxes. Albany's going to raise taxes statewide on corporations, but the money's only going to go to New York City. That could never happen. It's not just that the governor wouldn't support it. It's impossible.
It's illegal. It's unconstitutional. It's what an arrogant, smug dimwit is Zorhan Mamdani. Going to tax everybody in the state. We're going to increase taxes on every millionaire in the state, and it's all going to come to New York City so I can give away free stuff with other people's money. It's the left-wing thing. They're very, very generous with other people's money, always have been. And then Zorhan. And this one actually was a little bit funny because Cuomo, the former governor, Andrew Cuomo, his brother was a groper too, right, at CNN. Chris Cuomo was a groper too. And that's why he's no longer at CNN. I think that's largely it. But Chris Cuomo groped so many women when he was governor, sexually assaulted, so typical Democrat, and the New York Times is fine with it, CNN is fine with it, the Cuomo family is fine with it. They're just like, well, of course. They say, like, oh, he's Italian, something like that. And he shoots everybody at the dinner table. Say, hey, he's Italian. Don't worry about it. But Zorhan, they went to Zorhan and said, well, what do you think about that? You must have something bad to say about your Democrat colleagues.
Andrew Cuomo thinks it's all right to spend $60 million to fund his legal defense from accusations of more than a dozen women of sexual harassment. But if I say we should spend the same amount of money on delivering cheaper groceries in this city through a pilot program, that is unfathomable.
That would be, he's already talking about the redistributing wealth to have free groceries for it because he's a Soviet communist, and that never ends well. But I had to look it up. I was like, that can't be real, right? NBC New York, March 10th of 2025. Cuomo scandals cost New York taxpayers nearly $60 million in legal fees. Controller review fines. They just had the controller review how much money they spent on the governor's gropey McGropeface legal expenses, and they found nearly 60 million tax dollars went for his legal defense fund. The scandals that cost former Governor Andrew Cuomo his job have now cost New York State taxpayers nearly $60 million, $60 million in legal fees, according to a new breakdown by the Office of the New York State Controller, Tom DiNapoli. That's truly something. $60 million in legal fees because, and we'll just have the taxpayers pick up the tab. And who do you think the lawyers are? They're all pals. They're family pals. They're Democrat Party pals. They're the permanent bureaucracy, all that. Now, and also, we played this a little earlier, but it's only 8 seconds. Here's Zorhan Mamdani, the commie, bragging that they'll make riding the bus in New York free, and that way criminals will stop punching bus drivers.
One of the key reasons why we have to make buses free is because it reduces the assaults on bus drivers. It creates a safer work environment.
Safer work environment, free bus. Because then every deadbeat in the state will ride buses. And when it snows outside, they'll just take up positions on buses and they'll move in. They'll sleep there, the mentally ill homeless people. This is what he calls a solution. Sure. Did you know that the all-new third-generation Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier has finally arrived on the scene? And the third generation builds on the incredible success of the first two generations, and those earned thousands of five-star reviews on Al Gore's amazing internet instant bestseller. The new Thunderstorm uses two technologies that studies have shown help to kill up to 99.9% of bacteria and viruses floating in the air in your home, in your office. It also removes dust and pet hair, pet dander, smoke, and a whole lot more from the air that you breathe. And it does it all with no filters to replace over and over again. The Thunderstorm will help get rid of any stinky smell guaranteed. I'm talking about kitty litter boxes and trash cans and cigarette smoke and liberals that might come over. Musty basements are no match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm, and the smells will vanish in a matter of seconds. Right now, you can save $200 American dollars when you get an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for whole home protection. Put one in your basement, your kitchen, your teenager's room, your family room, any place you like to breathe clean, fresh air. Give one as a gift. Go to EdenPureDeals.com and use the discount code CHRIS3, CHRIS and the number 3, to save $200 on 3 thunderstorms. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is CHRIS3. Yes, sir. Yes, $16 million in legal fees because he's a groper. But when you're a Democrat, that's not even on your permanent record. That's no big deal. Gropey McGropeface. It is good to be a Democrat. Hey, we're back. All right, let us go back to the telephones, Michael. Talk to the great American people. Let's go to Terry, calling from Frederick, Maryland. Terry, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Chris, great show as usual. Maybe I'm late to the party here. I didn't get to see the debate yet. But all through this whole Mamdani process so far, no one has brought up the video that I saw with my own eyes not that long ago of him saying that he believes the government should have the power to take over the means of production, which in my mind, that is the most chilling thing that he has said so far. And he's said a lot of idiotic things. It's a long list. And that should top the list for everybody. That should be what everybody should be screaming from the rafters about, but nobody seems to be mentioning it.
And you're 100% right. It was in 2021 that Mamdani said, and he said, many capitalist countries seize control of strategic areas of production or service. Oil or minerals, commie countries do, like Venezuela, is a good example. At Mexico and Brazil, he says, they got commie things. And he did say exactly as you said, issues, he said, calls to seize the means of production, which is, Karl Marx, page 1, right?
It's also examples of Hitler and Mussolini and Pol Pot and every other tyrant that ever came down the pike.
And the left in the United States of America.
Yes, so there's your fascism. So where's Antifa beating down his office? Where are they at?
Yeah, well, as usual, were it not for double standards, they would have no standards at all. Speaking of which, the Democrats are violently attacking right now in Illinois. Coming right back.